the warrior who became a king. David of Bethlehem, once a boy with a sling and a harp now, walked through the gates of Hebron as Israel's chosen ruler. The people who once sang of his victories now placed a crown upon his head. But the throne of Israel was not secure. The tribes were divided, loyalties uncertain, scars of Saul's reign still fresh. Becoming king was not the end of David's trials. It was the beginning of greater ones. His first act revealed his wisdom. Not Hebron, not Gibeah. He chose Jerusalem, a city not claimed by Judah or the northern tribes. Neutral, central, strategic. But it was also a fortress of the Jebusites. They mocked him from the walls. "You will not come in here," they shouted. "Even the blind and the lame can ward you off." But David's men found a way through the water shaft. Stronghold fell, and Jerusalem became the city of David, a throne built not only on conquest but on vision. From there, David turned his eyes to God. The Ark of the Covenant, long separated from the heart of Israel, would come to Jerusalem. The first attempt ended in tragedy. Uzzah, reaching out to steady the ark, fell dead at God's hand. Fear gripped David. He left the ark in the house of Obed-Edom, unsure if he dared bring it closer. But when blessing poured upon that household, David tried again. This time, he came not with presumption, but with sacrifice and worship. The streets of Jerusalem erupted. Priests blew trumpets. Levites lifted their voices. David, clothed in a linen ephod, danced with all his might before the Lord. He forgot his crown, his dignity, his title, became again the shepherd who sang under the stars. His wife Michal watched with contempt from a window, shamed by his abandon. But David's answer was simple. It was before the Lord. "I will become even more undignified than this." Jerusalem was not only Israel's capital, it became the dwelling place of God's presence. But kings are not immune to shadows. One evening, while armies fought in Ammon, David remained in Jerusalem. From his rooftop he saw her Bathsheba bathing in the night. Desire stirred. He summoned her. She came, and soon word returned. She was with child. Panic, cover-ups, lies. He summoned Uriah, her husband, back from war. "Go home," David urged, but Uriah refused. How could he enjoy comfort while his brothers slept in tents on the battlefield? Desperation darkened David's heart, sent orders sealed with the king's hand. Place Uriah in the front lines, then withdraw. The loyal soldier fell, betrayed by the king he served. David thought the matter hidden. A widow mourned. A child would be born. But the Lord had seen. One day the prophet Nathan came to the palace, told a story of a rich man who stole a poor man's only lamb. David's anger flared. The man who did this deserves to die. Nathan's eyes pierced him. "You are the man." Silence filled the throne room. David's heart broke beneath the weight of guilt. He wept, confessed, begged for mercy. "Against you and you only have I sinned." Forgiveness was given, but the sword would not depart from his house. Tragedy followed. A child born to Bathsheba died. His household splintered. His son Amnon defiled his sister Tamar. Absalom, Tamar's brother, burned with fury. He waited. He plotted. He struck killing Amnon in vengeance before fleeing in exile. David's family was unraveling, judgment echoing through his bloodline. Years passed. Absalom returned, reconciled in form but not in heart. He stood at the city gates, whispering to the people, winning their favor. "If only I were judge in the land," he said. Slowly, he stole their loyalty. Then came the revolt. Absalom declared himself king. Trumpets sounded across Israel. The people rose against David. Once again, the shepherd king fled into the wilderness. Barefoot, weeping, he crossed the Kidron Valley. Loyal men followed. Curses rang out from Saul's kinsmen, hurling stones as the fallen king walked in humiliation. But David did not strike back. "Leave him," he said. "Perhaps the Lord will see my distress." The fugitive king returned to the caves where his journey began. He set up camp in the forested hills east of Jerusalem. His army moved silently at night, through olive groves and over rocky ridges. Food was scarce, and they scavenged from fields or traded with sympathetic villagers. His men were loyal, but exhaustion and fear wore them thin. They spoke in whispers around fires, plotting movements, guarding against spies, praying silently for the king to survive. David walked among them, listening, sharing their burdens, quietly commanding with a wisdom born of hardship. The army of Absalom followed. Skirmishes erupted. Archers loosed arrows from ridge to ridge. David's men fought fiercely, but the king avoided the front line, surveying from a hilltop, eyes sharp, mind calculating. He sent scouts into the night, reading the land as a shepherd reads the movements of his flock. And in the shadows of that forest, the king remembered the boy he had been alone, terrified, facing Goliath, and how the Lord had delivered him then as now. Absalom rode proudly, his long hair flowing, the symbol of his vanity and rebellion. He pushed too far into the forest. His horse stumbled, his mane caught on a low-hanging branch. He was lifted, suspended, helpless. Wabe and the generals seized the moment. A spear struck true. Absalom fell. Silence followed. The battle ended before it truly began. When the news reached David, he wept openly. The wailing echoed across the hills. "Oh, my son Absalom, my son Absalom. If only I had died instead of you." His grief swallowed the victory.
Yes.
His men bowed their heads, uncertain how to comfort a king who mourned more for a son than a crown. David returned to Jerusalem. The gates opened and people crowded the streets, whispering, cheering, trembling. He walked through the city, the weight of a king, the sorrow of a father, the vigilance of a soldier, all combined in a single man. He met officials, generals, priests, and villagers alike. He spoke little at first, listening, observing, measuring the loyalties and murmurs that ran through the city. Over time, he re-established order. Tribes once suspicious now came together. Laws were reinforced, taxes collected, border defenses strengthened. Ambassadors from neighboring nations sought audiences, and David received them. Speaking with authority, tempered by experience, the palace halls that once echoed with fear now carried the weight of strategy and careful planning. The plans for the temple took shape, though David would never see it built. He gathered gold, stone, and cedar, sending artisans to prepare designs. The Levites practiced rituals, priests rehearsed ceremonies. Every corner of Jerusalem, from the battlements to the marketplaces, whispered of preparation, devotion, and hope. Even in later years, old age crept in, hair-grayed steps slowed, yet the harp still sang. Psalms poured forth, words that would outlive empires and generations. Joy, sorrow, guilt, triumph, they mingled in every melody. Soldiers and citizens alike paused to listen, hearts stirred by the depth of feeling, the intimacy of a king who sang not for vanity, but for God. David's lineage would extend beyond his lifetime. Solomon, wise and prosperous, would build the temple. Generations later, another king, the son of David, would walk the earth not with sword, but with sacrifice, fulfilling the promises made long ago. David's life had not been simple. It was a journey through fire and shadow, from shepherd to fugitive, from warrior to king. His triumphs were hard won, his losses were deep. And yet every moment, every trial, every victory, every grief became part of the story of Israel. The shepherd who became king carried the wilderness in his heart, the battles in his hands, and the songs of God in his soul. And so, the gates of Jerusalem opened, and David entered once more. We walk not only as king, but as a man forged by life, tempered by hardship, and preserved by the hand of God.